go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCara.com. At ShopPayCara.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCara.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go, come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico, it's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
The K1 Circuit Semi-Pro League. This is a competitive race series with 2 classes. Junior Series for those who are under the age of 18, and the Senior Series for those who are 18 or older. If you think you have what it takes, come out and prove your skills on League Night. Both schedules are live on the K1 Circuit website. Your Kart Chaser live feed will resume shortly.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
The day is ours and we seize it. Haters, man, they got reasons. Grab the moment, we freeze it. Go to the touch, oh, what a rush. Follow your heart, homie, go where the love. Let it rain, let it flow, let it flood. Swimming in good vibrations, it's a celebration. It's the liberation of everything we are. Every time you in the clouds, they gon' try to bring you down. Do not let them try, go ahead and get it, get it, get it, get it.
Welcome to the future of kart race preparation, Kart Sim Pro North America. Featuring laser-scanned North American kart circuits and precision-tuned kart physics developed using real telemetry, dyno and tyre data, Kart Sim Pro North America delivers the most advanced and realistic kart simulation experience available today. Whether you're training for race day, refining your lines, or shaving tenths off your personal best, Kart Sim Pro gives you pro-level insight without leaving your home. Trusted by world champions, coaches, and karting enthusiasts alike, this is where virtual practice translates into real-world performance. Experience the thrill, the challenge, and the edge. Kart Sim Pro North America, use code CHASER20 to get 20% off today.
Empire Karts, your trusted trackside kart specialist, proudly supporting champions of the Future America Series, West Coast karting teams, and racers. Empire Karts, your trackside solution.
Karting isn't just speed. It's control, precision, freedom. At Atlanta Motorsport Park, Kart Freedom isn't just a team. It's where drivers are made.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
Chrome Motorsports builds champions every day, drivers who won on the world stage. The Tillotson T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart, it's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program,
me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCare.com. At ShopPayCare.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCare.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Today, Champions of the Future in its America Series. Get set for round number 7. Here from Winchester, California, we're happy to have you with us here on Kart Chaser for today's coverage. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside me is Dean Helt. We also have Jackson Lambros trackside throughout this weekend's festivities. As qualifying is all set to go, these drivers look to see where they'll start for this weekend's action for what's expected to be some pretty exciting racing, to say the very least. Dean, how are you feeling about this weekend, especially here in sunny Winchester?
The weather is gorgeous, isn't it? We're on the official layout, or I should say one of the pro layouts, getting rid of the Ds. It is all Asher Bazanski in the warm-up session. Look for him, as well as the likes of Benjamin Tavi and Max Carlucci, the two Nash Motorsports teammates who have worked so well thus far this season to get together. I'd imagine also the likes of Kendall West was very, very quick, and also the under 10s, we've got quite a few of them that are almost matching the pace of the front runners in this mini category. Should be a very, very good qualifying session.
Should be an uber competitive one, to say the very least. Keep in mind, we have some strong drivers that have made their way to the facility for this weekend. One of those that was on the entry list that we'll keep an eye on if we will see. Strice Sanders, that was a conversation point entering this week's conversation. But in general, for many of these drivers here, when it comes to your youngest classes, it's can they score points? Max Carlucci has been one of the top drivers when it comes to the season in the standings throughout the course of the season. But it's easier said than done to do so when it comes to this weekend, because you have a lot of those that are on the under 10s, you said, that have been able to match the pace and have actually been keeping up very strongly in the point standings with your overall mini group of drivers. Most of these drivers stay in the train in the first minute of your 6-minute qualifying session.
Yes, and we've got a report from the pit lane from our Jackson Lambros. Jackson, what do you got for us?
Good morning, guys. JP, welcome to Champions of the Future. A couple of brief tidbits here. I want to start with the Bazanski family competition speed. For the first time this season, they're actually joining tents with Santa Racing Engines. They've been the engine supplier all season long for that family, and they've been running with AL Baton. This was a universal choice from the Bazanskis to try and make things a little bit more competitive for both SRE and for competition speed. So far, Asher's thought that car has been very, very strong, as well for his older brother Diesel. Billy Musgrave of Factory Karts here to help with the wrenches. Very, very promising start to the weekend so far for competition speed, guys.
Thank you very much, Jackson. Those are some big names attached to that 10 as a result. And you'll have to keep it on, particularly that 213, for example, right now up in the top 10 for your qualifying session. It'll be interesting where things land, but guess what? You have a fair amount of those in the 100s at the top of your board here as we go. That includes Benjamin Monroy, one of the drivers in the under 10s, is your quickest at the moment in the 56-second bracket, up on your 3/10.
Yellow flags all throughout the circuit. I believe that was the 252 of BB Wild that was off at the end of the S's. The Hayner Racing Team driver finding himself into the barrier a little earlier than I'm sure they would like to be. But as mentioned, a lot of the under 10s, I mean 4 rather, of your top 5 drivers are the under 10 category. The only non-under 10 is currently Max Carlucci in position number 2 for Nash Motorsports, as at the moment, Benjamin Monroy, position 1 Motorsports sits at the top of the board at a 56.5 with a 2/10 gap to his competition. But I'd imagine as these drivers start to get a little bit better feel for these go-karts, should start seeing those times start to tumble.
By the way, in terms of weather conditions here to start off this weekend, 81 degrees Fahrenheit currently, expect to get as high as 93 today. The track temperature already at 116. How is that going to impact some of these drivers and how they adjust their karts with it being so hot to start off the weekend here in mid-July?
Well, anytime that you have an increased track temperature, that tends to make the rubber that's already on the racetrack very, very greasy. It's interesting considering we started the season off with some of these drivers and teams opting to leave on older rubber to make sure that these karts did not get overstuck towards the ends of the main events. So I would imagine we're not going to see the lightning fast lap times. Very surprising to see a 116 track temp. I'd imagine about this time of day as yellow flags continue to fly, around the circuit as we have 1 minute and 53 seconds left to go, that we're going to see a drastic reduction in grip for these drivers. Going to make driver skill a much, much bigger factor.
Talking already about 3-4 laps complete for a majority of the drivers here so far in the final 2 minutes. Remember, over the course of the week, too, for those who were at the facility during the setup, it was melting hot, up to 110 in some of the days over the course of those practice sessions, over the course of the week to prepare for this weekend's round. Now, as things continue to turn on, right now, Monroy still at the top of the board. Carlucci is the top driver of the minis, followed by Bizanski. Trey Sanders, we talked about him making a start here with Team Kartnik over the course of the weekend. He's in the 117 cart right there. He's been appearing with a lot of different groups, either at the national level or the regional level. And today, testing his horizons out on the West Coast, following along on the main drafting train behind some of those that are still pacing themselves in the final minute.
I absolutely love that the Team Kartnik team has brought out the gold stickers for this weekend. The gold standard, I should say, from one of the most professional organizations in all of West Coast karting, if not all of karting in North America. Still at the moment, Benjamin Monroy leads the standings at a 56.5. It doesn't really seem like anybody's got anything for the mini under 10 driver. So very impressive to see that as Maddox Carlucci, our championship leader, improves. However, still lacking about 700ths to usurp his under 10 rival. Just this deep into the session, I don't know if these drivers will be able to pick up enough speed from this Preza rubber. Remember, this tire is very, very sensitive to temperature, but this very, very hot track temp and really the speed of this racetrack. Just don't know if there's going to be anything left in the tank, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see as the clock strikes 0. Checkered flag this time by.
Curious if a couple drivers got an extra lap or not. We'll see how things get sorted as they make their way down the front straightaway. As you can see, a majority of the drivers have taken the closure of the qualifying session. Monroy keep it up by 68 1,000ths of a second. Carlucci in a different pack behind. Yeah, Liam McPhail also up there. Lion McPhail should rather say up at the top 3 now. So 3 are top 5. Under 10 here today to start things off for the sessions. And that can potentially say how competitive this should get here for this weekend here with this layout. You mentioned, of course, there's the no Ds. There is the chicane of 8 and 9 to add a little bit of an extra leg, if you will, towards turn 10. How do you feel this will impact how the passing can fare out where you don't have the Ds in between 3 and 4 and then 4 and 5?
Well, K1 Speed is what I would call one of the super speedways of North American karting, one of the, I would say, grade A facilities, especially that we have here on the West Coast. Lots of straight lines, lots of abilities for drivers to close up an accordion on the straightaways and make some big moves into these deep braking zones at the end of these straightaways.
First group is complete, so Monroy stays at the top of the board throughout the entire session. 68 1,000ths, I mentioned, over Carlucci. Bale in the top 3. Bizanski was down in the 4th spot. Trey Sanders on his West Coast debut in this series, amongst your top 5. First qualifying group complete, and that means our next group of drivers have a few moments to get prepared here. These KA100 juniors will get your next group all set to go, and so far, it's been Sebastian Hauser at the top of those standings in this series, but there was a major penalty in the post-final for the last time out, sent him back to 5th, gave the win to Braden Wagner, and it's expected to be the closest championship fight coming into this weekend here with so many drivers in the conversation, including Hauser, Wagner. You also throw some of those like Ferguson that look strong coming into this weekend.
You got to think if you're Sebastian Hauser, coming off of 2 race weekends where he was the first one across the line in the main events to get the victories, but post-race penalties have been the kind of the thorn in the side of the HRT driver. Currently, as it stands, 21 points separate Sebastian Hauser from Braden Wagner. 300 points left on the season with 3 races to go. Qualifying is the best place to get a leg up on your competition, and Sebastian Hauser only P6 in this morning's warm-up session, so got to find some speed in that HRT car, but I'm sure him and all of the Hayner Racing team will get that thing rocking and rolling here for qualifying number 1. Or number 2, rather.
Yeah. Either way, these drivers will all get themselves prepared here at this point. to go on the racetrack, just waiting for the command to fire their engines, or rather, roll themselves with their engines already rumbling to begin things off here for their group. Now, some of the other drivers that we should be seeing this weekend, Aaron Spears should be pretty solid over the course of the weekend as well. We have Tristan Murphy, who's a part of the entry list this weekend in the 360, making the first appearance out in this series also. Expecting that driver to be one of your favorites, because when it comes to the national races, when it comes to Murphy, has been a front runner in a lot of different races this season, running a Tony Kart this weekend. Going to be interesting to keep an eye on. In their case, coming off a win at the Clash of the Club about a week ago, actually, in Stars competition. We're underway for our second qualifying session of the morning. And the field, a little bit more spread out than the previous pack to start.
Well, I think what you notice, especially in this K100 field, there's not a lot of teammates, especially when you look at the likes of the Axis Kart Sport versus Formula Works / GFC combinations that we see in K100 Senior. Everybody here's kind of got their own intentions, and I also want to mention in this championship fight, as close as it is between Braden Wagner and Sebastian Hauser, Braden Wagner fastest in morning warm-up at I believe it was a 52.155. As you can see, Wagner already maybe looking to get up the inside of this is the 316. Not really sure who that is at the moment. We'll get a name check. That is Luis Martinez, or no, that is Henry Escalante, rather, with a very, very cool Van Halen-themed helmet. But for the likes of Braden Wagner, almost over a tenth and a half quicker in morning warm-up, whilst your championship rival was in 6th. We'll see if that HRT kart has found any speed.
And remember, you can't bump draft in quali, so you've got to make sure you don't get too close, I guess you can say. You can carry the momentum, but you can't make contact and push someone along in this qualifying session. Help yourself out that way. Already a little bit of blocking moments there, looked like there, for a couple of the drivers, forcing them wide up to the opening corners. Got to be careful about that even early in qualifying. Going to cost some drivers in the second grouping of karts a bit of time there. Amongst those in that was Martinez that had to go wide.
Gotta imagine positioning is going to be key. Always it's the, you want to find about that 2 kart, maybe 3 kart length gap to the driver in front of you, especially if you're working with one of the faster drivers out here. For Braden Wagner, you have to play this smart. The last thing that you'd want to do, like we saw there at the final corner, I should say the first corner on this layout, is get yourself in a spot where you get yourself caught up in an accident, which hampers your entire weekend's progress. Gotta think big picture as we've hit the 4-minute mark here in this session.
Pierce jumps up to second, make that Murphy up to second, make that everybody else jumping. Everyone doing jumping jacks to the top of the board. Sebastian Hauser is the one that now leads it in the 51.3s by a tenth of a second. Amongst those in the second grouping of karts, in fact, third grouping on the track. And of course, when you get speeds like this, you get more and more built up on the temperatures and your tires and more on the pace in itself here. Do you prefer to be one of the first drivers in a line, or would you rather be in the middle or the back of the group amongst those that take the timing beacons? Where's your preference, or where you actually sort out in a qualifying session?
Well, me personally, I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I like to take a little bit of a gamble here. I would say at a place as big and as fast, especially without the Ds that we have in the layout this weekend for Champions of the Future, I would choose to be a little bit farther back in the train. But as you can see, for the likes of Sebastian Hauser and Aaron Spears at the end of this main grouping here, coming through turn number 1 up into Rocky Moran, those gaps can close up very, very quickly. And this pressure rubber is very, very temperature sensitive. And with track temps as hot as this, you've really only got about a 3-lap window. And I can tell you what, if you're Sebastian Hauser at the end of this train, I don't see a way that you're going to get a competitive lap here. Although I'd imagine for Sebastian Hauser as your pole sitter, probably not too worried about it at the moment. Provisional pole sitter, I might add.
He Ward, absolutely, with the way things on this season. Remember Hauser from the pole time last time this series went racing. Did end up picking at least one of the heat races up as a result of how things went. Remember, we talked about the penalty situation already for that machine. But as everyone keeps on going, we're coming up to 2 minutes to go. You have Alejandro Gonzalez up in second. Spears, Wagner, Ramirez up in the top 5. Some of the drivers just trying to find a way to claw their way forward here. Who else is standing out to you that you're a bit surprised about for the early part of this one? When you talked about the Bizanskis, for example, with their engine storyline, they have Diesel down in 8th position right now.
I was going to say it's not so much those that are at the front. I think we've got a pretty normal cast that we find inside the top 5, but the likes of Diesel, Bizanski down in P8 for competition speed, as mentioned, teaming up with with Sainer Racing Engines, rather, as we see Sebastian Hauser trying to find some track position as we hit the 1 minute and 25 second mark remaining in this session. Also, the likes of Henry Escalante with that wonderful Van Halen themed helmet. I really got to give props to whoever did that. Surprised to see him currently down in 15th of 19, but I expect to see him in and around the top 5. So some drivers maybe just not quite getting up to speed with these very different track conditions that we're seeing this afternoon.
Technically speaking, a little bit cooler than if for those who are at the facility on Thursday. But that in mind here, still have to find your way down the hillside to be able to really build up the momentum to help your situation. One of the previous rounds, we had the opportunity in round 4 to call the action with the World of D's. A lot of drivers set things up to what was turn 9 for that layout at the time with the D's and hairpin. Going to be a lot more different on that approach to the final corner in terms of that side of the racetrack compared to some of the races there. But in that regard here, you see some of the drivers squabbling to end off the qualifying sessions. I think we've reached the ceiling here because some of the drivers have fallen off as much as 6/10 to their personal best from earlier on in the session.
Yeah, we've seen drivers like Daniel Ramirez improving on this last time by, but nobody really inside the top 10 looking like that there's going to be any improvement, as Jet Whipple, I should say, also slots himself into P10 with a very late improvement. It just doesn't seem like these pressed tires are holding on very well. We saw at Spring Mountain that there were teams that were saying, yeah, you've got essentially 2 to 3 laps when the track temp is way, way up to get the maximum lap time possible before those tires go over the cliff. As the checkered flag is out in the session, I doubt we'll be seeing any big improvements. Diesel Bizanski improves up to P7, improves 1 or 2 spots. Also, Jet Whipple improving at the death. Just not very big improvements. Going to be a major factor looking towards this afternoon when the track temp is going to continue to increase.
Provisionally, it's Sebastian Hauser at the top of the board by over a 10th of a second. Gonzalez, Spears, Wagner, Ramirez hold on to the top 5 with Mixon, Bizanski getting into 7th. In the top 8, Sebastian Johnson, Jet Whipple, Tristan Murphy down in 10th. Take a very quick step aside for a moment. We come back. Second half of qualifying. Qualifying continuing. The K1 circuit here in Winchester, California. Be sure to stay tuned. The action continues on in just a moment.
The K1 Circuit Semi-Pro League. This is a competitive race series with 2 classes. Junior Series for those who are under the age of 18, and the Senior Series for those who are 18 or older. If you think you have what it takes, come out and prove your skills on League Night. Both schedules are live on the K1 Circuit website. Your Kart Chaser live feed will resume shortly.
Getting set to get back going with qualifying. As we continue on with our sessions, this is our 3rd or 4th qualifying group coming up here on Kart Chaser Champions of the Future America Series. Just Bernstein help with you along with Jackson Lambros trackside as we continue to work on through the sessions here. It's going to get interesting how KA Senior battles on, because right now Archer Eversman is the one finding his way to the top of the board, rocking his way to the points lead after last time out. It's going to be interesting how things fare out, because remember, Johnny Stamps ended up finishing outside the top 20 last round, most importantly to see him to the top. And with this track layout the way it is here, it's going to be a challenge for a couple of these competitors to see where they stand up here with the Pro Track with the chicanes today. Oh, by the way, that's going to get interesting with that forecast there on the right, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, that's a bit of a curveball. We'll get a check to make sure that that weather is accurate. I don't believe that there's any light rain in the forecast, but you never know here in Southern California. But as you mentioned, as the green flag comes out for this KA100 senior category, it was a disastrous round 6 for your former championship leader in Johnny Stamps. Unfortunately, was collected in an accident on the last lap, effectively at the last corner of round number 6, which has allowed Archer Eversman to build up over a 50-point gap. Still 300 points left to play with here in the season with 3 races to go. But you got to start thinking, if Archer Eversman is going to hold on to that gap, needs to think big picture. For Johnny Stamps, going to have to take a big swing here to claw some points back for round number 7.
All that's to say, we'll find out pretty soon who sets the pole time here today. And again, reiterate, there in terms of what is set for rain, there is no rain currently, because it is very opposite of the rain. Your forecast today, expect to say clear blue skies all weekend long for the actual forecast. Now that being points, one of those that was brought in some of the overarching storylines from those at the facility, like Jackson and some of the various others in the information side, is the whole Axis team, new engine builder with Spring Mountain, has been huge in terms of what the distance they picked up as they look for their biggest championship in years as a team. That's part of the team that Eversman has some of the backing for coming into this event today.
And I also want to mention P1 and P2 in warm-up, Archer Eversman and Johnny Stamps. Everybody's going to be throwing the big punches today as we have 5 minutes remaining. We'll see who the early leaders are. And once again, it seems like you really need to get this lap in early, within the first 2 or 3 laps of this qualifying session before this presser rubber starts to overheat. Early is Ian Kim that sets the fastest time at a 51. Well, there goes that, as the Jackson Menchu and Johnny Stamps at the death goes fastest at a 50.8. And we've got an update from Jackson down in the pits. Jackson, what do you got for us?
Let's follow up on that trend of the Axis success, because these guys have been out here pretty much since Tuesday night trying to dial it in on this layout, and they had been pretty much scot-free up until the final practice session on Friday. Rylan Cordone making contact with one of his teammates, going for a little bit of a spill to the outside of Rocky Moran. Broken steering column, broken tire rod, and some slight bent bits of the chassis near the side pod. Was the first guy officially on the weekend to go over to Perazino and get that kart on the table. He warmed it up this morning. He said the kart feels fine, and still, again, very much the momentum going the way of Axis here on the tail end of this season. One more thing here, boys. Nelton Race Concepts back for this round. We lose Jackson Gibson, who was a major protagonist in that KA Senior photo finish, but we do gain Jonathan Ports as well as Dylan Stransfeld. If you've watched the Super Nationals, Rock Vegas, you know that these are some heavy hitters, and right before myself and Dean Helt head out to the Pacific Northwest for the Burley Cup final, they are bringing out top shelf guys here in Winchester.
Huge names to bring forward absolutely here to try and find a way to compete for the race win and pick up some good points for the team as a whole. We'll keep an eye on them over the course of this one. Thank you very much, Jackson. Now, we're already about near halfway in this session. Johnny Stamps still stays at the top of the board. Here the drivers like Maximum Bowie trying to pick up some speed. For example, you see in the front of the group, there goes Cagle jumping up to third. Meanwhile, in the 416 kart, Eversman behind by 54 1,000ths. Expected top 2, but some of the drivers up at the front trying to change hands and see if they can find new draft mates as they get around the 427 of Bowie, who's down by 0.8 to the pole time.
I was also going to mention Matthew Cagle currently sitting third in the points, about 140, 130-ish points back of your current championship leader in Archer Eversman. It's never too late, as mentioned, 300 points left on the table thus far this season with 3 races to go. Anything can happen. We've seen Cagle be super, super quick. Obviously, was gutted not to fully capitalize on the double points weekend that he won from 16th at Spring Mountain. Unfortunately for him, that's going to be quite the job to overcome. It doesn't seem as though many people are improving as Jack Babiak improves to P13, but still not a whole lot of improvement from the front. I think, unfortunately, as we finally see these Access Kart Sport drivers start to team up a little bit here, maybe just a little bit too little too late as we've hit the 2-minute warning in this session.
2 minutes to work with here in the session, as mentioned. So, some of the names like Ports currently running in 7th, going to be keeping an eye on. Minshew down in 6th. You also have Guino down in 5th. Now down in the top 4, who's been able to stay within a 10th of the pole time. See if there's any changes this time at the front of the field. That includes Corden up there at the head of the group. Guido does get themselves up to 5th, up by near 2/10. No major changes. I think, again, we've kind of reached that glass ceiling when it comes to the tires. So that being said here, look how pretty tight this is. Your top 15 within 0.3. Your top 20 within half a second. This field going to be on top of each other, you have to think. And remember, your races today for your qualifying heats that we'll see with the course of this one, only 10 laps. Those, as we can see, are going to go pretty quickly. You're talking, if you want to go by about time, you're talking maybe 10 minutes to get the job done with the way the lap times are under a minute, more like 9 minutes in terms of your race distances today. So you better figure out a way to make your way forward from a good spot. And a lot of these drivers are on top of each other for your qualifying as a result of how tight things look.
I am so surprised to see as many drivers carry on this deep into the session. We will have the checkered flag this time by for essentially all of your field. With everything that we've heard about this press of rubber, it doesn't look like any of these drivers are improving. I mean, we've seen the fastest times are currently a 57 from Johnny Stamps, a 58 from Archer Eversman, and these drivers are doing 51.9, 52.5. I mean, this press of rubber has fallen off a cliff for some of these drivers. You'd think you'd want to save that rubber. Remember, these are likely going to be the tires that you do all of the heat races on. Really, really surprised to see that a checkered flag is out. I would be amazed if anybody improves here. Although, you never know.
Well, the answer is no improvements from really anybody in the field. A lot of yellow on our timing boards for laps being turned. Johnny Stamps over Archer Eversman and Matthew Cagle at the top of the board. You also have Gavin down up in the 4th position. We know down to the 5th position with Minshew, Ports, Kempton, McCoon, and then John Michael Dunnigan. Inside your top 10, some of the final drivers coming across now to make the way to pit road. 3 groups complete, just 1 to go. And that means your KA Heritage and your X30 Pros are going to have an interesting time. Again, 2 different championships and their respective battle packs this weekend. They have a total of 12 carts that are going to be hitting the racetrack, give or take, in this final qualifying session coming up. You have 8 of the KA100 Heritage drivers, 4 of the X30 Pros looking to do battle. So 2 different class types that will work together here up until the later part of Sunday.
Well, a really great qualifying session for Gavin Nakagawa, his best so far of the season with a P4 run. Walk me through that lap, Gavin.
Man, I just got a good draft. You know, we weren't allowed a bump draft, but I was able to space myself out with a few people, and CRG feels great. I was able to, you know, really roll, really accelerate through all the corners. Feels good. I can't think precision works enough for the package that they're giving me. It's a real good opportunity, and P4 is my best qualifying ever, so I'm really happy.
Let's break that down really quickly, because again, we were talking after last weekend where KR had to be sidelined, right? You make this move over to the CRG. You didn't really know how it was going to feel. Obviously, it feels like a step in the right direction, though, after this first session.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, CRG is in a great direction. Brakes feel incredible. Feel real stable through all the corners, and yeah, I mean, today shows that CRG is fast.
Thanks, Gavin.
Of course. Thank you.
Just moments away from our final qualifying group of the morning. As mentioned earlier, KA Heritage X30 Pro will be together throughout Saturday. Then on Sunday, they separate for the superheats and then for their finals. So you have an interesting pairing of different battles here. Because first things first for the Heritage side, Tony Gomez has looked very strong. He's got a points lead of near 200 for a reason. But Joshua Daly trying to provide some pressure there. It's been about perfect attendance in part for the standings, but Daly's been strong when he's been here. It's going to be important, though, if Daly wants to win the title, to be fast. He's been one of the drivers consistent in terms of that title fight. He's not one of the drivers on the listed transponders, though. It's one driver still trying to get off their track going. Here's to Jackson.
Late send out for Sergey Karamseli, as I'm not sure if they were trying to make adjustments after that initial warm-up session. But we are very, very strict in how we run things for Champions of the Future. It's a European rule set. If they were here after the gate closed, they let him in, so I don't imagine they'll be giving him a penalty. But if that was much later, I'm not sure if they would have even let him come out, guys.
Yeah, just lucky to say the very least to get that Kart off the track and rolling. That was the Eric conversation point. He can potentially clinch the title with the gap he's got coming into today. And right now, in this point, you want to at least make sure you get on the qualifying order to make sure you get that started well for today's races.
Yeah, I mean, Karamseli's been arguably the class. I mean, has been here for every single race thus far for Champions of the Future North America. Has been the class of the field every time that go-kart has hit the track. I would expect nothing less. I think he will be just fine. First laps will be coming in for your X30 Pro category. Obviously, Sergei Kermaselli, Wrigley Keys, Tanner Corden, and Ivana Richards are your 4 drivers here this weekend for X30 Pro. Tony Gomez, Brad Hetrovic, Andre Isak, Mark Monahan. Monahan, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Jeffrey Bays, Brent Eck, and Dylan Albiani are your drivers for K100 Heritage. So at the moment, still haven't received any lap times yet. We'll see if we can get an update from timing and scoring, but I'd imagine Sergei Kermaselli is going to be the one to beat this weekend.
I think so, and as mentioned, for the Heritage side, Gomez in a good position to try and secure a championship as things close up there on that side also. So that being said here, drivers still trying to take their times here. The clock rolls. First times fly up. Ivana Richards up to the 49-second bracket to begin things off. But Wrigley Keys was one of the drivers that was quick in the warm-ups. Keep an eye on that card also. Here in the 618. They all rumbled away to the stretch out Rocky Moran corner. But right now that 618 trying to close up pretty quickly in the Dash Motorsports cart. That's been looking solid this weekend.
I was going to say, I want to give a huge shout out to whoever designed that Valvoline themed sticker kit for Ivana Richards. That cart looks gorgeous and currently sits top of the board as our timing reflects at a 49.6. A very, very competitive lap. Only a 53.888 thus far for Sergei Kermaselli. There's the big one, a 50.000, or 002 rather, for the Russian-American driver as he moves himself provision up into P2. That's a lot more of what I thought I would see. Get a good lap in for Ivana Richards and then pull that cart into the stall. Wouldn't want to use too much of that presser rubber up as she now leads Corden Tanner and Wrigley Keys to their own devices in their Nash Motorsports and Lando Norris cart, respectively. Still about a little less than 3 minutes left in this session as Dylan Albany currently leads in K100 Heritage ahead of Tony Gomez. They are currently separated by a little less, or a little more rather, than 0.3 of a second.
Still have a few minutes to work with up on the board here, most importantly though. And remember, with these classes here on the Saturday, you're talking about speed differences between those you'll see up at the front of the field in the X30 Pros into the 49-second bracket. You also have the XK Heritage that are going to be about 52, 53 seconds on their average pace here today. So depending on what happens here, could get interesting if we see traffic. I know when they were combined fully earlier on in the season, it was a bit more chaotic, if you will, in terms of the Saturday potentially at the back part of the races. We'll see how things go here today because, for the most part, these drivers looking to see can they really spread their wings, and Richards has really spread their wings, you could say, here, and same for Wrigley Keys in terms of the distance. No change up at the top of the board, still 2/10 out of the personal best here with the separation.
Yeah, and we saw Ivana Richards race here for the last rounds of Champions of the Future in the K100 Senior category. Maybe he wanted a little bit of a change. Obviously, K100 Senior, very, very competitive, a little bit more relaxed, I should say, for this X30 Pro category. But surprised to see that Kermaselli, currently sits P3, your current championship leader. You know, we've seen some races thus far this season where it's almost been a runaway at times. But as I believe this is Kermaselli that we're seeing on our screen, still kind of putting around, maybe trying to get that press of rubber to cool down a little bit. But looks like we could, as maybe a little bit of a disagreement here between the two of them, between Kermaselli and I believe this is Wrigley Keys, trying to make sure that one of these drivers gets a tow. Not entirely sure what's happening here as we've reached the 45 seconds left to go in this session. Neither of these drivers really interested in leading as Kermaselli seems to be adjusting something on that motor. Wonder if some bigger issues are afoot for the Russian-American driver.
Possibly, and you can tell as some of the drivers move off the racetrack, actually, they're both going to pull off here. So their qualifying ends early. Kermaselli, points leader, feeling a little bit early off. Corden will be the last driver in that group. Meanwhile, taking a look, Monahan looking to just combine something together here. One of the Heritage drivers in the pack. For reference, running 55-second lap time. We'll need to pick things up here to the front of the board later on today. Checker flag waves on the racetrack.
Yeah, not all too surprised for the results thus far in K100 Heritage. Dylan Albiani, rather, sits at the top of the board at a 52.4. Your championship leader in Tony Gomez, remember, all he needs coming out of this round is a 200-point advantage over Joshua Daly, and mathematically, I believe he will clinch the championship this season for the K100 Heritage. Joshua Daly not currently listed for those racing this weekend, so might be a bit of a formality here for Tony Gomez, but thus far, still looking pretty quick in the 505 Lakeside karting machine.
This is going to get interesting with different pulls that are up the front. Absolutely for the Heritage, but the drivers are peeling off. So your thoughts overall on the qualifying sessions here as the field's now set up, and today's going to be a busy one because you have 3 qualifying heats you need to race in to set yourself up for the superheat tomorrow.
I believe outside of Spring Mountain, this is going to be the biggest test of tire management. How much do you want to push, especially in these first 2 heat races at what's going to be, I believe, the hottest part of the day for this presser rubber? Do you push early? Do you try to use up some of that tire to give yourself track position, or maybe make some moves to hold some drivers back, knowing that the rubber that you use up in that first heat will eventually come back to bite you in heat number 3? Going to be an interesting decision for some of these teams and drivers. The wind seems to be pretty low. Going to set up some really interesting passing opportunities here into these really, really deep braking zones at the ends of these very, very long straightaways.
I'd like to remind everyone who's watching along today, for those wanting to keep an eye on the racing action, we will go behind the paywall in just a few minutes here, where you'll be able to keep an eye on the qualifying heats here today. Be sure to become a KC Premium member today, $9.99 a month. Get you access to races not just in this series, but all across the nation. Be able to keep it on your favorite teams and drivers. Get $9.99 a month for that subscription. Countdown currently set it up with under 26 minutes to go. Let's send it back down to Jackson.
And it'll be a front row start for Wrigley Keys, although we talked when you were in the scale line. I think you've got the feeling that Nash machine had a little bit more in it.
Yeah, I probably could have done a better job. I think I could have taken pole by a good margin if I just got the right lap in.
Obviously, these praises have been a moving target for a lot of you guys, whether you're a part-time driver or a full-time driver. This heat has been making things unpredictable. How tough has it been trying to get this package figured out in these conditions?
The tires go away quick, especially in the heat, so it takes a lot, and we're working on the setup for the main.
Gotcha. Thanks, Wrigley.
Thanks.
Guys?
Thank you very much, Jackson. Some important information coming in there and different thoughts, obviously, with some of the drivers here, Dean, as we get all set to go here. Before we get geared up for the racing action, what are some of the major keys you think we should keep an eye on, pun not intended, for the drivers when we go going?
I like what you did there. Obviously, with a track without the Ds, the draft and working together with teammates and maybe even some enemies is going to be a major, major factor here for your drivers in really all of the categories. I would imagine that we're going to see a lot of pack racing. The big one, though, is going to be tire and temperature management, keeping your nose clean, especially if you're one of these drivers fighting for a championship in your class. You know, some drivers are playing here. You know, they're doing a part-time season. They're really just trophy hunting. We saw it last time out with Christian Brooks, a driver that was maybe willing to take a bit more risk to go for the victory, while some drivers like Johnny Stamps, and especially when it comes to the K100 senior category, that critical championship battle between Johnny Stamps and Archer Eversman. K100 senior, I think for sure is going to be the show of the day, but we should have some great racing coming up here for all of our categories.
On that note, it's time to make the switch over. We'll take a break. When we come back, qualifying heats get going. You're watching coverage of Champions of the Future America Series from K1 Circuit in Winchester, California. We'll be back in just a bit.
The K1 Circuit Semi-Pro League. This is a competitive race series with 2 classes. Junior Series for those who are under the age of 18, and the Senior Series for those who are 18 or older. If you think you have what it takes, come out and prove your skills on League Night. Both schedules are live on the K1 Circuit website. Your Kart Chaser live feed will resume shortly.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
The day is ours and we seize it. Haters, man, they got reasons. Grab the moment, we freeze it. Go to the touch, oh, what a rush. Follow your heart, homie, go where the love. Let it rain, let it flow, let it flood. Swimming in good vibrations, it's a celebration. It's the liberation of everything we are. Every time you in the clouds, they gon' try to bring you down. Do not let them just go ahead and get it, get it, get it, get it.
Welcome to the future of kart race preparation, Kart Sim Pro North America. Featuring laser-scanned North American kart circuits and precision-tuned kart physics developed using real telemetry, dyno and tyre data, Kart Sim Pro North America delivers the most advanced and realistic kart simulation experience available today. Whether you're training for race day, refining your lines, or shaving tenths off your personal best, Kart Sim Pro gives you pro-level insight without leaving your home. Trusted by world champions, coaches, and karting enthusiasts alike, this is where virtual practice translates into real-world performance. Experience the thrill, the challenge, and the edge. Kart Sim Pro North America. Use code CHASER20 to get 20% off today.